The wind howled against the glass walls of my father's lakeside villa, but the real storm was unfolding at the dining table. "Congratulations, Ryan," my father said, sliding a heavy envelope across the table to my younger brother. "You have earned it. The deed to the villa, the company, the offshore accounts, it was all his." I sat silently across the oak table, 34 years old and suddenly feeling 10. My palms were cold, pressed against my slacks as I struggled to keep composed. Ryan avoided my gaze, his lips were tight, eyes low. My stepmother fidgeted with her necklace, eyes glued to the floor. Then my father turned to me. "And you, Ava," he sneered, "you have always been a dreamer, weak, too compassionate to survive in the real world." My stomach dropped. There were 4 others in the room, him, Ryan, my stepmother, and the attorney, but somehow I felt utterly alone. He pushed a stack of papers to the man in the suit. "Let us get this signed." "Dad," I croaked, "please do not." He rolled his eyes. "Bear me, Ava. You chose to leave. You wanted to find purpose, remember?" He raised his fingers in mocking air quotes. "You walked away from this family to work in some clinic overseas. And for what? No money, no title, just wasted time. You never asked why I left," I whispered. "You never cared. And I still do not," he snapped, "because Ryan was here. Ryan showed loyalty. He showed you what you wanted to see," I said quietly, "but he lied to you." My father laughed bitterly. "That is jealousy talking." The attorney, a gray-haired man named Mr. Whitman, shifted awkwardly. His fingers tightened around the folder. "Actually," he said, clearing his throat, "before anyone signs, there is something you should hear." My father frowned. "What is it?" Mr. Whitman looked him straight in the eye. "There is a sealed amendment to the will, added 6 years ago at the request of your late mother." My heart jumped. My grandmother, the only one who ever truly saw me, the only one who used to say I had more strength in my silence than most people had in their loudest moments. "What amendment?" my father snapped, irritation rising. Mr. Whitman calmly opened the leather folder and withdrew a yellow document. "This was filed during your mother's final appointment with the notary. Her instructions were clear. It was to remain sealed unless you ever attempted to disinherit Ava." My father's face twitched. "That is ridiculous. She had no such authority." "She did," Mr. Whitman replied, his tone firmer now. "She retained 51% ownership in Harborist Holdings until the day she passed. And you never challenged it legally. She had every right." Ryan shifted in his seat. My stepmother froze, hands still resting on the diamond pendant she always wore when she needed to feel powerful. Mr. Whitman turned to me. "Miss Ava, would you like to read it, or shall I?" I did not move. My eyes stayed locked on the envelope in Ryan's hand, the one that held everything my father believed he controlled. "Read it," I said softly. He cleared his throat and unfolded the page. "In the event that my granddaughter Ava Whitmore is deemed unworthy by her father, I hereby grant her full authority over my share of Harborcrest Holdings, to be enacted immediately. All voting rights are to be transferred to her name upon activation of this clause. This amendment shall override any previous agreements regarding decision-making or ownership within the company or family estate." Silence. Only the sound of rain against the windows, softer now, as though even the storm was waiting. "What the hell does that mean?" my father barked. "It means," Mr. Whitman said, turning toward me, "that your daughter is now the majority shareholder. Nothing you sign today can override that." My father shot to his feet. The chair screeched backward. "This is absurd. She does not even understand the business." "Maybe not your version of it," I said, rising, my voice steady, "but I know how to lead, how to protect, how to build without tearing people down." I took a step forward. "You said I was useless, but I never needed your validation." I turned to Mr. Whitman. "Let us move forward. We have a company to run." Ryan stared at the table. My stepmother opened her mouth to speak, then did not. My father never sat back down. If you felt that moment shift the power back where it truly belonged, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, because what happens next will leave even her father speechless. But he did not say a word. He just stood there, silent, rigid, as the world he thought he controlled shifted beneath him. The room was thick with a stillness that screamed louder than any argument ever could. My father remained upright, lips a hard line. His jaw clenched so tight I could see the tension pulsing in his temple. His knuckles were white around the edge of the chair he had shoved back, and for the first time in my life, I saw something I had never seen in his eyes. Fear. Not the kind that lashes out, but the kind that sinks in. A quiet, soul-deep fear of losing something he never thought he would have to fight for. "Please sit," I said gently. I did not say it to shame him. I was not here for revenge. I only ever wanted what had been withheld from me for decades. Dignity. Still he did not move. Instead, Ryan finally spoke. "Vic, this is not right." Left. He looked around the room, searching for support. "She wanted no part in the business. She ran off to help people or something. I built homes for women escaping abuse. I funded transitional housing for veterans," I said evenly. "I did not run away. I ran towards something that mattered." He scoffed. "That is nice and all, but you do not know how to run Harbor Cross." "I know enough," I said, locking eyes with him, "to know you have been skimming funds through a shell corporation registered under your college roommate's name." Ryan paled. "My stepmother," gasped. "Eva, stop. This is family." "Was it family?" I asked, my voice breaking, "when you sat by as he called me a failure, when he handed everything to Ryan without acknowledging the sacrifices I made for all of you?" "You were never built for this world," she whispered. "No," I nodded, "you all made that clear. But Grandma thought differently." Mr. Whitman cleared his throat. "Miss Ava, your grandmother did not just leave you shares. She left something else, meant to be given only after this moment." He opened his briefcase and retrieved a small weathered box. Inside was her old gold-plated compass. Beneath it, a folded letter with my name in her delicate script. My fingers trembled as I opened it. "My dearest Ava, if you are reading this, it means your father has done exactly what I feared. Do not hate him. He is a product of a world that told him power is louder. You were never weak. You were the quiet strength that held us together. This compass is yours now, because no matter what path you take, I trust you to lead." Tears threatened, but I blinked them back. I turned to Mr. Whitman. "Let us proceed." As I signed the acknowledgement of my controlling stake, my father finally spoke. "You think this makes you powerful," he said, voice low. "You think she gave you this out of love. She did it to spite me." I looked at him, really looked, for once not as a daughter seeking approval, but as a woman who saw the truth. "No," I replied. "She did it because she believed in me, and she knew I would use this power to build, not break." I walked out with my head high, years of rejection falling from my shoulders like rust. But what waited outside was not peace. It was war. Because power brings enemies, and Ryan was not finished. I had barely reached the corridor when I heard footsteps. "Eva," he called out. "Turn." His voice was calm, but his eyes calculating. "You do not have to do this," he said. "Do what?" "Push me out," he shrugged. "That is your next move, right?" "I have not made a move," I said quietly. "I simply stood up." He chuckled. "You think signing some papers makes you powerful. You do not have the backbone to lead." My heart pounded, but I did not flinch. "I am not here to prove myself to you, Ryan. I am here to lead with integrity, something this family forgot." He stepped too close. "I give you 2 months," he sneered, "before you crawl back." "The company is not a charity," Ryan said coldly. "It is a battlefield." "No," I replied, lifting my chin. "It is a platform, and I will use it to build, not break." "You really are naive," he muttered, shaking his head before turning away. But something about the way he left stuck with me. His clenched fists, the stiff shoulders. This was not surrender. It was just the beginning. The next few days moved like storm clouds rolling in. Word traveled fast. Ava Whitmore was back, and this time she was not just visiting. People whispered my name like it was a ghost story. Some were hopeful, others afraid. I did not fire anyone. I did not hold flashy meetings. I listened. And what I found was worse than I expected. Departments were turned against each other. Promotions were handed out based on loyalty, not merit. Employee burnout was ignored. This was not a business. It was a kingdom. And Ryan had studied under the king. One afternoon I entered the break room. Conversation stopped cold. "Please," I said, raising my hand. "You are on break." City. A janitor named Rosa stood slowly. We were not allowed to sit if Mr. Ryan walked in. Blink. "That changes today." Her face softened. She said, "That night I stayed late reviewing reports. I found 3 misused budgets, a shady deal with a questionable supplier, and a list of employees who had been terminated after raising concerns. This was not mismanagement. It was rot. If I did not act fast, I would be blamed when it all fell apart." The next morning, Ryan stormed into my office holding a folder. "You want the CEO seat," he snapped. "Let us see you survive this." He tossed the folder on my desk. Inside, screenshots, emails, and photos. "These are fake," I said, flipping through them. "Can you prove it?" he smirked. "You really want to destroy me?" "I want what is mine," he hissed. "You were never meant to win." I stood slowly. "I do not want to win, Ryan. I want to fix what you broke." "I see power," he sneered. "You see weakness." Then he turned and walked out. And I realized this was not rivalry. This was war. But I had something Ryan did not. The truth. Within 48 hours, headlines flooded in. New CEO accused in charity fraud. Family feud at Harborcrest Holdings. Ava Whitmore, legacy leader or liability. It did not matter that it was fake. The public did not wait for truth. My inbox exploded with PR alerts. My phone would not stop. Shareholders were panicking. I had barely begun and I was already bleeding credibility. I told myself to stay calm. But late one night, locked in my office, I broke. Not loud. Not messy. Just silent sobs, curled on the couch. I was not crying because they did not believe me. I was crying because maybe, just maybe, my father had been right. Maybe I was not cut out for this. Then came a soft knock. I wiped my eyes fast. The door opened anyway. Rosa stood there with a paper cup. "Thought you could use this." "You did not have to," I whispered. "You look like you needed it," she said, walking in. "No one ever brought me anything when I cried in this room, so maybe someone should break the cycle." Something inside me cracked again, but in a softer way. "Thank you," I said. She sat down across from me. "Miss Ava," she said, "do you want to know the truth about your family?" I looked up, unsure. She nodded. "I have worked here 28 years. I have seen more than most. And I have seen what they hide." "You always looked me in the eye," Rosa said gently. Could not speak. My throat tightened. "You may feel alone now," she continued, "but you have got something they will never have. Loyalty earned through kindness." I blinked, trying to steady my breath. "Why are you helping me?" "Because someone once helped me when no one else did," she smiled. "And because this company does not need another king. It needs a healer." The next morning, I walked into the boardroom with quiet resolve. I let them speak first. Accusations, doubts, demands for resignation. One shareholder even threatened a lawsuit. When they were done, I stood. "If anyone here can prove those documents are real," I said clearly, "I will step down today." Silence. Then I dropped the original reports onto the table. Evidence of Ryan's financial misconduct. Hush money. Side deals. Then I turned on the projector. Footage played. Ryan entering a locked office. Plugging in a USB. Transferring files. The timestamp matched when the forged documents were created. No one spoke. "Truth matters," I said. "But I did not come here to destroy my brother. I came to repair what he broke." I turned to the company attorney. "My grandmother gave me this role, not because I was perfect but because I still believe in people. Even those who hurt me. I am not pressing charges," I continued. "But Ryan is suspended, and a full investigation will proceed." There were stunned expressions. Then Mr. Halpern, a retired board member, stood. "I doubted you," he said. "Thought you were just another idealist. But today you reminded me why we built this company. It was about people, not power." And just like that, the energy in the room shifted. Ryan did not come back. But 2 days later, I received a letter in his handwriting. Ava, I do not expect forgiveness. I did not just want control. I wanted to be seen. I always thought you got the love I never did. Maybe you just earned it differently, right? I folded the letter and placed it beside my grandmother's compass. Not every ending needs a sword. Some arrive in stillness. And some beginnings are born from grace. The office felt different now. Not quieter. More awake. It had been a month since the boardroom turned. The media retracted the false claims. Some tried to call it luck. But those who mattered saw the truth. Not because I shouted louder, but because I held the line with integrity. One person, though, still had not reached out. My father. No messages. No lawyers. Nothing. I assumed he had vanished to lick his wounds and blame the world. Until one Sunday morning I walked into my office and there he was. Sitting across from my desk. Hands folded. It's dull. I had to see it, he said. See what? That you did not burn it down. I said nothing. He looked older, tired. For once, not like a man in control, but like one who had lost something that mattered. You were right, he said softly. About me, about Ryan. About how this place stopped being about people. I studied him, unsure if I could believe it yet. Why now, I asked. He pulled something from his coat. Photo. Me and Grandma. I was 12, covered in paint. She was laughing. She said you would change this family, he whispered. I just did not want to believe it. If I did, I said gently, it is because she believed in me. He nodded. Came to say something. Something I should have said long ago. He met my eyes. I'm sorry, Ava. For everything. Part of me wanted to say it was too late. But healing does not start with blame. Starts when someone finally breaks the cycle. So I nodded. Thank you. I just needed to say it before I ran out of time, my father said. Then do not, I replied gently. Fix what you can. It is not too late. He did not respond. Just gave me one last quiet look before slipping out the door. 2 weeks later, Rosa stepped into my office with a folder. What is this, I asked. A list of every employee your father let go for speaking up, she said softly. Figured you would want to see it. I opened the file, read every name, and then we sent out letters. Each one an invitation to return. No questions asked. Not because I needed redemption, but because legacy is not built on bloodlines. It is built on how you make people feel when you leave the room. Months passed. The company did not look flashier. It looked warmer. Ryan never returned, but we met once for coffee. No apologies. No digging up the past. Just two siblings trying to understand each other. Maybe that was enough. My father kept his distance. But one day I received a receipt. A 7-figure donation made in my name to the women's shelter where I once worked. No note. No signature. Just his quiet way of saying he was trying. And that was enough. Because I did not get revenge. I got something stronger. Respect. And a future no one could take away. Now, when I walk into that boardroom, I do not hear whispers. I hear footsteps of people who believe in me. All because one day someone said I was nothing, and I proved them wrong without becoming them. If my story moved something in you, drop a comment below. Tell me what part hit hardest. Tell me what you would have done. I read every word because connection is what this journey has always been about. And if you are facing your own version of being underestimated, know this. You do not have to shout to be heard. You just have to stand steady in your truth. Subscribe to the channel if you believe in healing through strength and strength through kindness. Because sometimes, the quietest ones carry the loudest legacies. In a world where power is too often mistaken for control, Ava proved that true leadership is built on compassion, courage, and quiet resilience. She did not rise by tearing others down. She rose by standing firm in her truth, lifting others with her, and rewriting what legacy truly means. If you believe that strength comes from integrity, and that healing is a form of power, then this story was for you. Subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that prove kindness is not weakness, and those who are underestimated often carry the greatest strength. Leave a comment and share your thoughts, because every voice matters, especially yours.